Alright everybody, Tobe here again. We're going to do the walkthrough for the Hour of Twilight Dungeon Well of Eternity. And as I said in the last video, I've changed some things to stay under the 15-minute YouTube time. I've got part of it sped up, part of it slowed down for the bosses. That way I can give a little more explanation on that part. In this dungeon we lose the healer right after the first boss, so there's a little bit of a gap in between the first boss and the trash, so I've edited that out. Um, uh, Pretty much I think everything goes real smooth. The second healer wasn't quite as good as the first one, but all in all everything went well. Um, and as I've said before, the paladin is the one running these, so let's get into it. Here's the first guy in End Time. He does this little jump around thing that he does right there. That increases the damage that he does. Healer was really good. The first healer we had was really good. I don't even think my life dropped down below 80%. The next thing that happens right after that, you'll run over here and talk to Illidan Stormrage before he becomes the demon in Outland. He puts you in this little shadow thing. I'm going to skip through here to the first trash. He'll do You want to kill the guy that I marked there with skull first on these trash pools. After that, it's just down one ad and the other. Once you down those ads, the little green crystal that I'm standing there by, you're going to have to click on that to close the portal down, as you see right there. It's pretty much just rinse and repeat two more times on that right there. You'll see me, I'll mark that center guy again. Switch to him. Pretty quick. The damage was really good with these people that were running in this group. The warrior is a little overzealous at times. If you're a tank, you want to turn those guys away from the group because they do that little breath. Um, I'm not sure what it's called. Fell flames or something. It's like a little acid cloud that they blow out, but you want to turn that away from the group. This is just like the first guy that you fought. The only difference is you've got the damage buff from the shadow thing, so he goes down a lot faster. Um, Pretty simple dungeon. Goes pretty quick. Sorry for I wasn't thinking when I was filming there, and um, got it. Got the camera in a little too close. Summon Swarm is what that's called. That you want to turn away from the group. Can be very damaging. You just click on the crystal and roll back over here. I'm fixing to slow the speed down for when we do the boss fight. You gotta wait for these little guys to clear out. Then you run up here in the middle. Well, and this first boss, Parathan, or however you pronounce his name, he does a couple of different things. It's a two-part fight. He'll On the first part he does the puts this little ring of fire on the ground, blah 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 blah. Then he'll transition when he does the fell flames there. I'd normally try to keep him moving. He has a tendency to not want to pat and follow the tank, so anytime I see him go to casting that, I try to start moving. That way he's more apt to move away from it faster, and it allows your melee DPS. Alright, here's the beginning of phase 2. He does this little thing. Like I said, the healer was pretty good. Got me pumped back up before the little eyeballs. This is a phase where you're supposed to run around from the eyeballs. So, but always just go in and take the hit. Note to people that are playing paladins, you can shield out of that like I just did and not lose threat on the boss. So just a little note, if you're not a paladin, you'll be froze there and be he'll just come up and just beat on you for a little bit. But everything went pretty smooth, and like I said, we'll lose the healer right as this boss fight ends. So um, you just pretty much, it's a fairly basically a tank and spank fight, other than the fell flames. The melee have to move out of that, and so do the casters. But fairly straightforward fight, and been trying to work up my paladin's tank, or my, not my paladin, my warrior's tank gear. And as you can see, when we kill him here, I'm on the paladin who doesn't need the gear. The tanking weapon drops, so I just get to disenchant it. Alright, next part is, here's where we lose the healer. He went offline right there. And I wasn't paying attention, so I went ahead and pulled this first set of trash. These guys can get pretty nasty, as if you watch my health bar bounce up and down. I don't know if I used lay on hands or not. No, I didn't. Anyway, got the new healer, because I edited it out where we had to wait. Um, Pretty simple trash. I always, right here on these, there's two groups just like this. I try to kill the one I marked with skull there first, because it does, that mob does a blizzard AoE that's fairly damaging. So I want to kill him first. When I do that, you'll see me when I come up to the next set after this. Um, I'll mark him with a skull again, so that the DPS down that one first. Um, Pretty simple trash. I don't know which ad is actually spawning those little ads, but they go down pretty quickly. Um, this is pretty straightforward. The next boss coming up is Queen Ashara. Um, she does a couple of different things. You have ads that come out in a timed rotation, two each. I don't know what the time frame is in between them, but normally you want to try to down the first two before the second two spawn, and you won't have any issues. She also does a like mind control thing on one of the group. You want to down that pretty quick. Um, and she also does this servant of the queen. Maybe that's the I can't remember what it is, but she'll do this mind control thing that has to be interrupted, or the whole group will just walk up to her and die. Servant of the queen is the mind control type deal. As you saw my DBM flash it across the screen there. Um, I'll try to get a note. We'll read the DBM note when it comes up of what the other one's called. Total obedience. There it is. That's the one that has to be interrupted. If not, it will wipe you no matter how good you are doing. The first day of the expansion, I wiped here like 12 times before I eventually gave up, due to the fact that nobody was interrupting the total obedience, and we would get killed right there every time. But anyway, and like I said, this is just two ads each time. You want to down them as quick as possible. There's the servant of the queen again. You just go over there and click on the little hand and kill that off quickly as possible. That way you get the most out of the DPS of the group. Here comes the last set of ads. Pretty straightforward. Fairly simple fight as long as you do the interrupts. It's just a matter of DPSing down these little groups of ads. I didn't know if the warrior was going, so I started to go over there. like I said, this went pretty smooth, so no big deal. Down the boss. You actually don't even kill the boss, she just walks away. Get the loot, disenchant. Then you go over here, and I'm always the last one to be able to click on this stupid teleporter. I don't know why, it just doesn't like me. Alright, tanks now. First thing you do when you get here is you just run around here. Just run around the tree is what I do. Gather up all the ads, and you bring them back over here by Tyrand. Due to the fact that she's going to put down the Light of a Loon or something and gives you an increased damage buff. But you just down all these ads. Pretty simple. And of course, while you're in here, Illidan's running off at the mouth that he's such a badass, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, right here you see me telling the people in phase 2 of the boss fight, please get on the marker in the chat box, which I don't know why, but people can't seem to do that. But anyway, right here on this fight, you want to stay close to Illidan, that way you get the damage reduction buff from the Well of Eternity thing. If not, you can get a little bit blasted there, as I found out the other day. Okie dokie. This little trash pool right before Hunter was wanting to not work on the ones we were working on. That's why I had the aggro issue there. Once we down this, you'll see me pop the little marker there. I'm popping the marker, see it by his right leg. I'm gonna pull Varathan. There's also a little section of this fight where you got to down 2 ads, so Tyrand can start shooting again because they put some kind of magic resistance on her. When the fell flames, whatever that is, comes up, I just like to back straight up. I don't know why people want to run around in a circle. You just back straight up. You won't get hit by the fire if you just keep backing up until it's all gone. Unless some retard runs in behind you like somebody did there. Okay, here's the 2 ads I was talking about. You'll see me mark this one with skull, and nobody seems to care about doing that for some reason. They just stay on Varathan. Why? I don't know. This makes this so much easier if you just kill these off. Go over here and kill this other ad, because he's already dead. I don't know who it was that killed him, but he went ahead and grabbed the sword and flung it into Manaroth here. And as you can see, at least one person gets on the marker. You always have to remind them. And there I am, reminding them, on the marker, please. This is so much easier if you just go to this little area of this boss. Because if, as you can see, all the little ads going, they're running straight. They got to roll right through the tank to get over there. Fell flames again, or firestorm, whatever it's called. Back straight up in a straight line. See my nice little straight line. By the time you get back to the boss, the first one's gone. Now everybody's gotten to where they've come over here, so picking up the aggro is a little bit easier unless my stuff's on cooldown, which happens from time to time. Pretty straightforward fights. You see the Warlock there is doing like 130k because you're getting a big damage buff here. And this is pretty much just outlast the enemy. Right here, you see you've got the big demon look now because you've been. Once you get to that point, it's game over. This dungeon is done. And here you see me get my last trinket for my healing set. Thanks, and goodbye.